Good morning, thriving warriors and those who wish they were. There's only two kinds of people in the world, thriving warriors and those who wish they were. So congratulations on being that. There we go. Just got a notification. So let's see if anybody logs in. Okay, Alexa, what is the date and time?
It's 6:22 a.m. Enjoy your weekend, Edward.
Alexa, what is the date?
Today is Saturday, July 23rd.
Aha, July 23rd at 6:23 a.m. Alexa, what is the weather forecast?
Right now in Pahrump, it's 74 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Today's forecast has partly sunny weather with a high of 107 degrees and a low of 74 degrees.
Okay, great. Let's see, where did we go? There we are. All right. So today is a big day at Citrus Garden for the crew, the team, people up here. So I'm going to show my morning routine. This from Mark Rowland. MCT oil, lightning fast, all day energy. Perfect for smoothies, coffee, cooking, dressing, thermogenic metabolism booster. Okay, so I put a little bit of that in there. A lot of calories in it. And we got this from City Impact, a couple cases of pistachio milk. Plant-based, original, unsweetened, dairy-free, barista-friendly. So I'll add some of that. And then of course, I add the espresso from Mark Rowland with coffee donated by Jeannie and Carl. And then I have a great morning breakfast. Not breakfast, coffee. Oops. But CT is very oily. Okay. Apologies. We're 3 minutes in already. Haven't gotten to the point. So this is Thriving Warrior, where we help people, career services department, where we help people move from point A to point B, where point B is better, and then prepare them for the next step and the next step and the next step. This week, we have been focusing on neurotransmitters. Today, we're going to talk about oxytocin. Some say the best neurotransmitter hormone of them all. I have a link down below in the notes to the Simon Sinek talk and it's to exact place where he starts talking about oxytocin. So if this grabs your attention, if this little breadcrumb, this little nugget of information to help you move forward in life, if that piques your interest, and that's PIQ, not PEAK or PEEK. If it piques your interest, click on the link below. Okay, what else? So today is Saturday, clouds out in the sky. Heading to Citrus Garden, back to hell, painting, yard work, etc. And Jason should be going to Maryland Parkway today. So Jeff, can you give me a clue about that? Good morning. Good morning. If you can give me a clue, maybe put it in the comments. What do we need to do to get Jason to apartment number, 24? And then there are 2 people in Unit 2 that need to have a very serious discussion of whether they're going to keep their commitments or not. And if they're not, then there's no reason to be here, because that is not the purpose of the program. The purpose of the program is to move people from point A to point B, not point A to point B, meaning bad. Better, not bad. Okay, oxytocin. Some say it's the best neurotransmitter hormone of them all, that it is responsible for all the warm fuzzies. It occurs through physical contact with other people, positive physical contact with other people, or thoughts of positive physical contact with other people. It's really the basis for AA, NA, and things like that before they even knew about oxytocin. Okay, Jeff says, okay. Let's see. So this is a response to Jeff. All right, right. I believe I have the keys. Charlene. I will be there with them. Fine. Okay. All right, so now I got to focus on this. All right. Oxytocin, the best thing. It's what you feel when you hug someone, when you pick up a baby. It's that warm, fuzzy, you feel it in your heart. And according to Kelly McGonigal, that's because there are receptors on your heart for cortisol that helps repair your heart from the the damage caused by stress. It's the warm fuzzies, it's the rainbows, it's the unicorns. It's the feeling you have, according to Kelly McGonigal, when you feel courage. So if you want to have a feeling of cortisol, think of firemen rushing into a fire to save families and babies and things like that. That is oxytocin. In NA, they teach when you feel like drinking, call your sponsor, go to a meeting. Well, when you call your sponsor, you are bonding and you're releasing oxytocin. When you release oxytocin, the flow of dopamine gets reduced. If you go to a meeting, you're around other people, oxytocin. Extremely important to be successful. This is another reason it's not good to isolate in your room, to hang out in your room by yourself, because then you are mixed with, you're left with your own thoughts. Generally our thoughts turn bad, especially when we're depressed and releasing cortisol. Everything looks bleak, or so I'm told, because depression is not a problem that I deal with. Oxytocin, great neurotransmitter. Practice releasing it so you can dial in who you need to be. So when you're in stressful times, think about bonding. Think about, this is where praying comes in. Praying releases oxytocin. That's why we like it. But we believe it is God's grace, and that could be true. Some number of years ago, in the last 10 years, I think it was University of Utah or Brigham Young, started doing tests of people in fMRI machines to see the point in time when the Holy Spirit entered them and they felt that feeling. And they had a button. So they said to LDS people, formerly known as Mormons, we're going to put you in an fMRI machine, pray, ask for the Holy Spirit to come into you. And when you feel the Holy Spirit into you, push the button, because we want to see what's going on in your brain. And they did that, and they saw it. And then they did the same thing with other Christians. And they saw it. And it was, aha, this could be the receptor from where the Holy Spirit, God, whatever, the wicked mother god, whatever it is, comes into your brain. So it was kind of cool. Wow, we can see that happening. So the idea was the Holy Spirit comes into you, triggers the release of oxytocin, you feel better. But that kind of worked for every other religion too. Looks like a Clark's fourth law problem. And then they got some atheists in there and they said, picture a wonderful waterfall or sunrise or sunset, something that is the beauty of nature. And sort of like, oops, it was the same thing was triggered. So no conclusions there, just it's oxytocin. So whether it's triggered by the Holy Spirit or the wicked mother god or Jesus or whatever, it's oxytocin, and you can trigger it by doing things. And if you do, the negative, the neurotransmitters that are causing stress, etc., or causing dopamine, massive amounts of dopamine to flow into you, those will turn off as the oxytocin goes up, and you'll feel better and do better. That's all you have to do. It's no big deal. Not really a big deal. It's just imagine you have one of those new Coke machines and you can not dial in, but you can press the buttons of the flavors you want. So there's a million different flavors of carbonated soda. Oh, and a little bit of this and a little bit of that and here and here and here and all this stuff. And you get what you want. So it's the same thing with neurotransmitters. We have the ability to control the release and flow of neurotransmitters. Some neurotransmitters produce bad feelings, which will get us to not do certain things. And other neurotransmitters will reward us, in effect, for doing certain types of behavior. And that's how we were able to survive, and other creatures with far magnitudes fewer neurons are able to survive because they have neurotransmitters that if they do this, they'll get a shot of neurotransmitter that's going to make them want to do that more, or they'll get that neurotransmitter which is going to make them want to do that less. So it's pretty easy. It's a good system, as Simon Sinek says, good system. You don't have to be able to think. You just have to be aware of the be aware of what's going on, and the neurotransmitter will release. The problem we have is that our brains are learning machines. We've got all of these billions and billions of neurons that are out there trying to make sense of the world and create sense. And as Yuval Harari says, create stories. And so the problem is, with us, we get a little fact here and we add this other stuff and it's not important. So, we are learning machines. That's a thing to take. Our brain is constantly taking in information, processing it, turning it into whatever it is. And so, looking at my notes. So if you're poor, and that's P-O-O-R, if you're poor, it's because you do poor stuff. We're learning machines. So, okay, good. What are you doing 100% of the day? Listening to crappy music, or music that is not probably dopamine inspiring music, a constant high, boom, 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 doing that, releasing dopamine, versus something that's releasing serotonin that builds to this other thing, and it has nuances, and it's subtle, and it causes the release of other. If you look at successful people, what they're doing during the day is they're learning to be more successful. Our people start off by learning to be poor. Well, not learning to be poor. They already had that when they got here. But the ones who do not move forward, they just continue to do the things they did that made them poor. So I heard something today that rich people live off about a third of their money. Poor people live off 100% of their money. And you could say, well, that's because it takes up all of their money. Yeah, but if you look at it, if you really think about it, there's stuff you don't need to buy. You don't need to buy energy drinks. I don't need to buy Starbucks. You don't need to buy cigarettes. You don't need to buy all of the stuff that you accumulate every day to make you feel better. That's why people buy stuff. Dopamine. Okay. I need new shoes. I need a new shirt. I need this. I need that. Well, you don't actually need it. You just want it. And you want it because it releases dopamine that makes you feel good. Or it will release serotonin because other people comment on it to make you feel good. So our brains are designed to learn, actually to solve problems. And the problem that we're constantly, historically, have been trying to solve is how to survive. And there are people who are in survival mode. They haven't gotten out of that. They're in survival mode. The brain is always focused on, how do I survive? The way to do that is to stop doing poor stuff. Do stuff that successful people do. That's all you have to do. Stop doing things that poor people do. Start doing things successful people do. So here's one quick example. So here's the breadcrumb for today. Oops, I dropped it. Where'd it go? It's a breadcrumb. It's on the ground. Pick it up. Stop saying I can't. Replace the words I can't with how can I? So yesterday I said to somebody new, this program here at Rain Man is a mind-body program. Under body, we focus on two things, health and fitness. Fitness is physical activity, releasing what, Charlene? Endorphins, right. Fitness is what we consume, or health is what we consume. We don't allow bad diet here. If you want to have a bad diet, if you insist on doing the things that poor people do, poor nutrition, do it off property. Okay? I don't want it here because it becomes infectious. Somebody who's weak sees somebody else who really doesn't give a fuck about themselves, really deep down, non-consciously. They're going to give in, and then they're going to start doing things, and they're going to feel guilt, and they're going to feel shame because they're going to be lying. They're not going to be sincere. And so we don't do it on property. So if you want to eat whatever you want to eat, you can do it not here. I don't want Anna bringing any more crap, junk food just because her boss didn't want it and said, hey, here's the scraps. Here's the scraps. I don't want it. You go eat it. Otherwise, I'm going to throw it away. So if it's not good enough for you, it's good enough for the garbage can. Health, fitness. So I said, and smoking, where you came from, did they allow you to smoke? No. Why are you smoking now? Well, because blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, and the statement was, I've been a smoker for 30 years. I can't stop. Replace the term I can't with how can I? Frame of mind, mindset. How can I? Another growth mindset thing would be to add the words yet. Okay, I can't stop smoking yet. Turns it into I'm trying to stop. If you say I can't stop smoking, what does that do? That gives you permission to keep smoking. Because why? I can't stop. It's out of my control. These little things have more power over me than I have over them. Right. Sounds crazy, right? Okay. And then to adopt an attitude of if they can do it, I can do it. If somebody else can quit smoking, if somebody else can do that, I can do that. And if you believe that, guess what? It works. It works. You can do what you believe you can do. If you believe you can't, you can't. So here in career services, we're trying to get you from point A to point B. It comes down to our self-identity is just made up of our self-beliefs. So if you believe you can't do things, you're going to be right. If you believe you can do things, you're right. Just drop the words I can't from your vocabulary and replace them with how can I? Ask your brain, how can I do this? How can I stop smoking? Oh, Well, I can start by buying a pack of cigarettes and then crushing half of them, destroying half of them immediately, or giving half away, hurting other people by giving them half of the cigarettes. I can take my cigarette and I can break off half of it, or a third of it, or a quarter of it in the beginning. So, you know what? I want to stop smoking. I love smoking. I want to stop smoking. It's very powerful over me right now, but I can smoke less by getting rid of part of the cigarette. Same thing with food. I have to get in the habit of, when I order food that has food that I really don't want to eat, or if I go to a restaurant and they put bread out, please, no bread, no French fries. Because if they're there, I'm going to eat them. Put oatmeal raisin cookies in front of me, they're going to be gone. So the best thing to do is remove the trigger, as they call it. But we are at 21. That's a new record. So I don't know if anybody's still with me or will make it to the end of this, but I am going to say, boom. Yesterday was the only easy day. Compare yourself to who you are today, to who you were yesterday, not to someone else. You can do it. We're in this together. You can call me, text me, email me. I always answer my phone when I can. And people that are around me see that I oftentimes have 2 calls going at once to give respect to people who are in prison that I cannot call back. So yesterday was the only easy day. That means push yourself a little bit harder today. Compare yourself today to who you were yesterday, not to other people. Have a positive outlook. Believe you can do it. And let's make something happen. And be samurai.